السلام عليكم. هنكمل Trig identities part 2. Let's see example 3. Prove the validity of the identity sine power 4 theta minus cosine power 4 theta equals 1 minus 2 cosine square theta. First of all, I see here, yes, power even, and here the same power even, so it is difference between two perfect square. Let's work at the left hand side. You have that sine power 4 minus cosine power 4 will be two brackets multiplying each other. Sine square plus cosine square times sine square minus cosine square. And this you have 1. Why 1? Because from the unit circle, sine square plus cosine squared equal 1. Multiplying what? Multiplying sine square minus cosine square. It remains as it is. But here I have at the right hand side cosine, not sine. So I will replace sine square by 1 minus cosine square. Why? From the equation of the unit circle. So it will be replaced by 1 minus cosine square theta, and the minus cosine square remains as it is. And here I have the same function. Yes, I will take 2 as a common factor. It will be 1 minus 2 cosine square theta, and it will be equal to the right hand side. So the proof is done. Example 4. Prove the validity of sine square theta over 1 minus cosine theta equals 1 plus cosine theta. Easy one for who studied well. I have at the right hand side all cosine. So I'm searching to get rid of sine square theta. And you have that sine square plus cosine square equal 1. So I will replace sine square by 1 minus cosine square theta. And 1 minus cosine square theta will be difference between two perfect squares, because 1 can be easily power 2. So it will be 1 minus cosine square perfect square, so it will be 1 plus cosine multiplying 1 minus cosine over 1 minus cosine will be eliminated together, 1 minus cosine, 1 minus cosine. So it will be 1 plus cosine theta equals right hand side. Easy one. Try to solve this and show me at the class. Let's take example 5. Prove the validity of the identity tan theta plus cotan theta equals cosec theta sec theta. Now we are going to work at the left hand side and right hand side also. So tan theta plus cotan will be sine over cosine plus cosine over sine, and by taking a common denominator it will be sine squared plus cosine squared over sine cosine. Why? Here I will multiply numerator and the denominator by sine, and here I will multiply the numerator and the denominator by cosine. And when you add, it will be like this. And the numerator here seems like to be 1. Why? Sine squared plus cosine squared equal 1. So it equals 1 over sine theta cosine theta. Let's work at the right hand side. Cosec times sec. Cosec is the reciprocal of sine, 1 over sine multiplying sec, which is 1 over cosine. So when you multiply 1 over cosine multiplying 1 over sine, it will be what? Right hand side. 1 over sine multiplying 1 over cosine, it will be cosec multiplying sec, which is right hand side. Let's take example 6. Prove the validity of the identity 2 cosine square theta minus 1 equals 1 minus tan square theta over 1 plus tan square theta. Let's work at the right hand side. When you work at the right hand side, it will be easier than the left hand one. So 1 minus tan square, I will replace tan square sine over cosine, and I will replace 1 plus tan square from the law we have discussed at the first of our lesson. It will be sec square theta. 1 plus tan square equals sec square. So now 1 minus sine square over cosine square over 1 over cosine square theta, because sec is the reciprocal of cosine. So it will be like this. 1 minus sine square over cosine square. I will change this fraction which is divided 2 times, so I will change this one also. So denominator, the denominator will be numerator as it is. And when you multiply cosine square by two sides, you will get cosine multiplying 1, it will be cosine. And cosine multiplying sine over cosine square, it will be eliminated together, and the result will be sine square. Now, I see at the left hand side cosine only without any sign. So I will replace sine square theta by 1 minus cosine square theta. So it will be cosine square theta minus, open bracket, the replacement of sine square is 1 minus cosine square. And when you distribute the negative sign on two items, it will be cosine square minus 1 minus minus, which is positive, cosine square. And cosine square with cosine square will be 2 cosine square, which is the left hand side. So it will be 2 cosine square theta minus 1 equals left hand side. Let's see example 7. Prove that the validity of the identity 6 square theta minus 10 square multiplying sine square equals cosine square plus 2 sine square. Let's work on the left hand side first. 6 square, which is 1 over cosine square, minus 10 square, which is sine square over cosine square, multiplying sine square also. Now, what do you notice? Yes, this will remain as it is, 1 over cosine square minus, and when you multiply sine square multiplying by sine square, you will add the power, it will be sine power 4 theta over cosine square theta. I see common denominator, so yes, I will add. It will be 1 plus negative sine 4 theta as the numerator over cosine square theta. And I see perfect difference between perfect square. So it will be 1 minus sine square times 1 plus sine square over cosine square will be replaced by what? I see at the numerator sine. So I will replace cosine square by 1 minus sine square. And I will eliminate 1 minus sine square with 1 minus sine square. So it will be 1 plus sine square. And notice that 1 plus sine square is not like the right hand side. So you will name it as number 1. So let's work on the right hand side. Cosine square plus 2 sine square theta. You can easily distribute 2 sine to be cosine theta plus sine theta plus sine theta. But cosine square theta plus sine square theta will be 1. Okay, what about the another sine theta remains? Yes, it will be sine theta. And cosine square theta plus sine square theta is 1. And remains 1 sine square theta, so it will be 1 plus sine square theta. Name it number 2. And from 1 to 2, you find that left hand side equals right hand side. Try to solve this and show me at the class. Let's see example 8. If sine theta plus sine 270 minus theta equals half, find the value of sine theta cosine theta, where theta belonging to 0 and pi over 2, which is located in the first quadrant. 270 changes, so it will be cosine, and 270 is located in the third quadrant, and in the third quadrant tan and its reciprocal only takes positive sign, and I see sine, so it will be negative. So sine theta minus cosine theta equals half. Now you are going to square both sides. Why? Don't solve. You don't have only one trig functions equals half. You have two trig functions. So you can solve and get the theta. So I will square. Why I will square? Notice. When you square the left hand side, you will get sine square plus cosine square minus 2 sine times cosine. And the right hand side will be quarter. Now you notice that sine square plus cosine square equals 1. And minus 2 sine theta cosine theta remain as it is, equals a quarter. So when you move 1 to the opposite hand side by negative sign, you will get negative 3 over 4 from quarter minus 1. It will be negative 3 over 4. And at the left hand side, it will remain negative 2 sine theta cosine theta. Now easily divided both sides by negative 2 to get sine theta cosine theta. You will get sine theta cosine theta equals negative 3 over 4 divided by negative 2, which is 3 over 8. كده يا شباب نكون خلصنا الليسون. اللي عنده أي سؤال يقدر يسأل في المدرسة. السلام عليكم.